Last spring, we took Jamie to see the new Disney Pixar movie, Elemental. Actually, he took his granny for her birthday, but we had to go too, to pay. Since we were there, we stuck around and watched it too. Elemental is about a young woman named Ember, a woman made from the element of fire. Ember's parents came to Element City from another country, Fireland. So she is a first generation Element City native. Her family runs a shop in Firetown. A Firetown is a neighborhood the immigrants have made for themselves in a city not designed to accommodate people from Fireland, or the Firish, as they're known. Her father has been training her to run the shop since she was a small child, and she desperately wants to take over. As her father's gotten older, he's slowed down and is struggling to keep up with the business. She wants nothing more than to be a good daughter and to make her father proud of her. So she tries very hard to be good at running the shop. The problem is, she can't seem to control her anger when the customers are too demanding or break things or are overly annoying. You get it. Anyone who's worked in customer service, you get it. And her dad keeps telling her that she can take over the shop when she's ready, but he doesn't think she's ready quite yet because her anger keeps flaring up and causing problems. Literal fire. After she explodes with anger, literally explodes with fire everywhere, after she explodes at a critical moment in the shop, she meets a water guy. His name's Wade, who helps her go out of her comfort zone. I mean, I don't make this stuff up, that Disney does. His name is Wade. Wade in the water, yep, got it. So he helps her go out of her comfort zone, out into the city, out, and helps her to save her family's shop. Eventually, she realizes that her anger is telling her something. It's telling her that she isn't living the life that makes her happy. She doesn't actually want to run the shop, but she can't see any other way to be a good daughter and honor the sacrifices that her father made to leave his homeland and make a better life for her. She is being torn apart by the impossibility of the situation as she sees it. She has in her a creative flame, particularly with creating beautiful glass sculptures. And she's offered an internship in a faraway land, but she struggles to admit that she wants to take it. She can't take the chance that doing what she loves will break her father's heart. So basically her choice, as she sees it, is breaking his heart or her own. It's an easy choice if you're already used to living with a broken heart already. The disconnect between who she is and who she is trying to be is causing her suffering. It's causing suffering beyond her, in her own heart, yes, but also in the lives of those around her. Because in lying to herself, she ends up lying to everyone. By trying to be who her father wants her to be, she ends up betraying them both. A tipping point comes when Wade asks her a question. Are you sure? Are you sure that your father puts the shop over your happiness? Are you sure that there isn't another way to honor the sacrifice he made? Are you sure that you need to give up what makes you, you? Are you sure? This, although it doesn't happen right away, is the turning point she needs. The doubt that comes into her mind is a seed that when planted continues to grow until it becomes just impossible to ignore, a plant just right in front of her face. In her book, The Way of Integrity, Martha Beck lays out a path, a way, if you will, to bring yourself into integrity. She defines integrity as the feeling of wholeness, where everything feels centered and honest, living an undivided life, as Parker Palmer calls it. I would call it living authentically. Beck uses a Buddhist understanding of suffering to describe what it's like to live a divided life. Our worst suffering, she says, comes from thoughts that we genuinely believe while simultaneously knowing they aren't true. So looking at Ember, she genuinely believes that she wants to run her father's shop and continue his legacy by following in his footsteps, but she knows deep inside her that she is meant to create art, and she can't do that while running the shop. She genuinely believes that there is only one way to be a good daughter, yet as she tries doing everything she can to be good, she keeps messing up stuff even more. To be able to live a life of integrity, to live undivided, according to Martha Beck, she must examine those beliefs with curiosity and creativity. Are they really true? Is there only one way to be a good daughter, be a good family member, be a good human? Or is that a message you've internalized your whole life that isn't true? Beck has a 3-step process for examining these beliefs that cause suffering. 1, the hardest part, notice the belief is there. Number 2, examine it by asking, is this true? Are you sure? And number 3, let it go. It sounds super simple, right? Yeah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No, not so much. At first, Ember doesn't know why she's so angry, but then she's finally able to acknowledge to herself the anger was telling her something. Then Wade asks her, are you sure about the feeling, the belief? And of course, she is very sure, Wade. But that seed of doubt is planted. First, she has to admit to herself that she wants something different from her current life. And then after struggling with that for quite a while, she has to admit to her family that she isn't who they think she is. In some ways, she has to come out. As Adina said, this week is National Coming Out Day, which is a wonderful celebration of LGBTQ plus people and the ability for them to live authentically by sharing their identity. The Human Rights Campaign says race, ethnicity, language, religion, culture, gender expression, sexual orientation, and gender identity should never be barriers to us living our full lives. Coming out or inviting someone is a personal choice and often a significant part of living our identity publicly. We all deserve the right to live our lives genuinely, completely, and honestly. One of the many ways that we live our values as Unitarian Universalists is to embrace the right of all people to live genuine, complete, and honest lives. I will also acknowledge that it may not be safe for some people to be out publicly. There are many situations where integrity comes second to survival. For folks who aren't ready to invite the public into your experience, I hope that you can find at least one person who can safely hold your truth with you. The burden can be too heavy to bear alone. I also noticed that the Human Rights Campaign noted that folks are inviting others in more than they are coming out. They write, coming out has been the common term for someone who is acknowledged being LGBTQ+ and is used throughout our resources. However, it's important to note that this language centers the people we are coming out to, rather than us. It gives the impression that people who don't identify as cisgender or heterosexual are hiding something from society, rather than acknowledging how homophobia and transphobia create an unwelcoming environment. So this, once again, goes back to Martha Beck's integrity. The suffering she describes most often comes from societal expectations and norms that are ill-fitting and sometimes universally unacknowledged. Homophobia and transphobia are what make it hard for LGBTQ+ folks in society, not who they are, but the weight of the impossible and soul-crushing expectations. Folks who come out are actually letting other people in to a very personal truth, a truth they have had to wrestle out from under the weight of society's expectations, a truth that, when unacknowledged, cause suffering, and once spoken aloud to a trusted companion or friend or family member can be the key to wholeness. People who have come out or let folks in as gay, as queer, as trans have all had to find a way to make a way out of no way from the history and heritage that has led to homophobia and transphobia dominating our culture. They may have had to face family history and heritage of homophobia and transphobia and break away from it, making a new way, taking a new path, embracing a chosen family or a journey with them. Our reading today was by the poet Stanley Kunitz, an American poet of Jewish heritage. He writes about trying to stay true to himself and to keep moving forward through all of it, even though the folks he has filled his life with, his companions, his tribe, as he puts it, have scattered. Mostly they've died. He takes account of the milestones, the losses, and turns to face the day ahead. He acknowledges that although he has changed, he tries not to stray from that principle of being, that internal truth that makes him who he is. And he knows he has even more transformation ahead of him. He's still striving to live an undivided life. May we all strive to do the same as we build a new way out of no way together. Amen.